Introduction to Tea's Global Journey. Having explored the origins of tea in ancient China, we now embark on a journey to discover how this beloved beverage traversed the globe, influencing cultures and traditions along the way. Tea's journey is a testament to the interconnectedness of humanity, as it moved from one region to another, adapting and evolving with each new culture it encountered. Centuries ago, when trade routes expanded beyond borders, tea began its odyssey, traveling not only as a physical commodity but as a symbol of status, healing, and connection. From the elite chambers of Persia to bustling chai stalls in India, the essence of tea evolved, molded by the customs, flavors, and ceremonies of each society it touched. Tea in Persia and the Middle East. In the 8th century, tea arrived in Persia, modern-day Iran, where it was embraced not just as a drink but as an emblem of refinement and honor. Persian nobility took to tea with fascination, serving it in ornate, hand-painted porcelain cups, often infused with aromatic spices such as saffron, cardamom, and rose petals. The tradition of offering tea to guests became a cornerstone of Persian hospitality. It was more than a beverage, it was a social ritual. To serve tea was to express respect, to connect. Accompanied by candied fruits or small pastries, tea was enjoyed in lush garden courtyards or elaborately decorated salons. Beyond taste, the presentation mattered. Silver trays, delicate glasses, and decorated kettles became part of the cultural performance of tea. Persian poets even referenced tea in verses, intertwining it with love, mysticism, and introspection. As trade flourished with neighboring Arab and Ottoman regions, tea spread deeper into the Middle East. In these lands, the infusion of mint and heavy sugar into black tea gave rise to region-specific styles. Tea houses became intellectual spaces where scholars, poets, and thinkers would gather, echoing the cultural gravity tea had in ancient China, yet uniquely adapted to Middle Eastern sensibilities. The rise of tea in India. While wild tea trees had existed in Assam for centuries, it wasn't until the 19th century that tea truly took root in India as a cultivated commodity. Introduced by the British East India Company, the colonial ambition was to break China's monopoly on tea and establish India as a rival producer. The lush regions of Assam and Darjeeling, with their humid climate and high elevations, became ideal for tea plantations. The workers, many of them local villagers, labored in vast fields under British direction, unknowingly laying the foundation for one of the world's most iconic tea cultures. But it was the Indian people who gave tea its soul. Blending black tea with milk and spices, they created chai, a bold, aromatic beverage that quickly became ingrained in everyday life. Cardamom, cloves, cinnamon, and ginger danced together in simmering pots on street corners, train stations, and family kitchens. Chaiwalas, or tea vendors, became central figures in Indian cities, pouring frothy cups with dramatic flair from steel kettles into tiny glasses. These chai stalls were democratic spaces, visited by businessmen, laborers, students, and wanderers alike. Over time, chai became more than a drink. It became a language of bonding, of pausing the day to share warmth and stories. End of Part 1. Chapter 2, Part 2. Tea in Japan, the tea ceremony. While tea traveled through commerce in much of the world, in Japan, it blossomed into a deeply spiritual and artistic practice known as Shinryu, the way of tea. Introduced from China during the Tang dynasty, green tea arrived in Japan with Buddhist monks, who use it to remain alert during long meditation sessions. Over time, this simple utility evolved into an art form. By the 15th and 16th centuries, the tea ceremony had developed into a highly codified tradition of aesthetics, mindfulness, and harmony, one that reflected the principles of Zen Buddhism. At the heart of this ritual is matcha, a powdered green tea made from shade-grown leaves. The tea master prepares matcha in a carefully orchestrated series of motions, heating water, cleansing the utensils, scooping the tea, and whisking it in a ceremonial bowl until a smooth froth forms. Every gesture is intentional. Every sound and silence matters. The tea room is minimalist, often built from natural wood, with tatami mats and soft light filtering through paper windows. Guests bow upon entering, shedding the outside world and its distractions. Silence is not awkward here, it is sacred. The moment is shared, not spoken. Beyond the tea itself, every detail is an act of art: the texture of the cup, the calligraphy scroll on the wall, the seasonal flower arrangement. In this way, Japanese tea culture taught the world that drinking tea could be more than a habit, it could be a meditation, a pause in time to find beauty in the fleeting present. Tea in Europe, a symbol of sophistication. By the 17th century, tea made its grand entrance into Europe through Dutch and Portuguese traders. But it was in Britain where tea would find a lasting cultural home. Initially marketed as a medicinal tonic, tea became a luxury item for aristocrats and royals. Elegant tea salons emerged across London, where finely dressed ladies and gentlemen would sip imported Chinese teas from porcelain cups. Its price made it exclusive, its flavor made it desirable, and soon, tea became a status symbol. Enter Anna Russell, the Duchess of Bedford, who in the early 1800s introduced the custom of afternoon tea. What began as a personal solution to her late afternoon hunger turned into a national ritual. A table would be set with finger sandwiches, clotted cream scones, and delicate pastries, all complemented by a fresh pot of black tea. Afternoon tea was not just about eating, it was about displaying refinement, elegance, and conversation. Fine china, lace tablecloths, and silver spoons elevated tea drinking to high art. And it spread far beyond England. In France, tea became fashionable among the elite, while in Germany and Scandinavia, afternoon tea began to rival traditional coffee hours. The rise of tea clashed with the British government's thirst for profit, leading to tea taxes, smuggling, and even revolution. The Boston Tea Party in 1773 was not just an act of protest, it was an explosive result of tea's global power and symbolism. Tea in Russia, samovars and tea parties. As tea made its way into Russia, it was embraced with a uniquely communal and hearty flair. Introduced via trade routes from China in the 17th century, tea initially passed through the vast expanses of Siberia on camelback caravans. It took months to arrive, making it precious and expensive, an exotic luxury for the Russian elite. But as trade routes improved and tea became more accessible, it seeped into the very fabric of Russian domestic life. Central to Russian tea culture is the samovar, a traditional metal urn designed to boil and keep water hot for hours. These ornate vessels, often brass or copper, became a staple in homes. The samovar wasn't just a tool, it was a symbol of warmth, welcome, and community. At its heart sat a small teapot filled with concentrated tea, or zavaka. Guests would dilute it with hot water to their liking. Tea in Russia was often served with sugar cubes, lemon slices, and jam, not stirred in, but sipped alongside or even directly from a spoon. Family gatherings, long conversations, and chilly evenings were all made cozier by the ritual of tea drinking. The presence of the samovar signaled that it was time to sit, relax, and connect. Even Russian literature reflects the cultural weight of tea. Writers like Tolstoy and Dostoevsky painted tea scenes as moments of reflection, intimacy, and emotional release. In this way, tea in Russia became more than a drink, it became a medium of human connection. Tea in Africa, a cultural embrace. While Africa is not traditionally associated with tea, it has developed its own distinct and vibrant tea culture, particularly in Morocco, Kenya, and South Africa. In Morocco, tea is more than refreshment, it is hospitality made visible. The iconic Moroccan mint tea, also known as atay, blends green tea with generous amounts of fresh mint and sugar. It is traditionally prepared by the host in front of guests and poured from a height into small, ornate glasses. This creates a fragrant foam, releasing the aroma of mint and symbolizing the openness of the host's heart. Offering tea in Moroccan culture is a gesture of trust and respect. It is often served 3 times, each glass representing a different stage of life, love, life, and death. The ritual is poetic and proud, passed down through generations. In Kenya, tea is both a major export and a local staple. The country is one of the largest producers of black tea in the world. Chai ya maziwa, milk tea, is common, similar to Indian chai, and often flavored with ginger or cloves. Served sweet and hot, it's a comfort drink shared in both urban cafes and rural homes. In South Africa, an indigenous caffeine-free tea called rooibos, harvested from the red bush plant, has become a national treasure. Its earthy, slightly sweet taste makes it a favorite among health-conscious drinkers and has gained popularity worldwide. Across Africa, tea is a thread of hospitality, community, and resilience, a shared joy in both bustling cities and desert villages. Tea in modern times, a global phenomenon. Today, tea is everywhere, from corner cafes to high-end wellness shops, from bustling markets to TikTok trends. What began as a medicinal herb in ancient China has become a global comfort, with endless varieties, innovations, and cultural twists. In urban centers, bubble tea, boba, has become a youth phenomenon, especially in Asia and the West. With its chewy tapioca pearls and vibrant flavors, it's a modern reimagining of traditional tea. In Europe and North America, artisanal tea blends, with lavender, rose, matcha, or hibiscus, reflect an explosion of creativity and wellness consciousness. Cold brews, tea-infused cocktails, and sparkling teas have redefined how and when we enjoy this timeless beverage. Small-scale growers and ethical tea cooperatives are now focusing on sustainability, organic farming, and fair trade, creating a more connected and conscious tea economy. Whether you sip it alone in quiet reflection or share it among friends and family, tea continues to bridge cultures, histories, and hearts. It is not just a drink, it is a mirror of humanity. A ritual. A celebration. A pause. A journey that continues to pour into new cups, every single day.